holes on certain maps. It's really just to what you could do, what you should do in some cases, and maybe what not to do. So just basics, especially if you haven't really dealt with emplacements or like certain maps. I picked this map because it's one of my favorites, and it's also really easy to showcase some of the ideas and tactics here. Again, we're doing really basic stuff. It's not anything like harebrained or anything that's like a really wild and risky maneuver. So, Cypher on Russia, if you want to come down to like, I guess go down to Quarry and whatever you want to take. I think we don't have rules on the server, so I think you'll be able to just take whatever you want. Okay. But yeah, for myself and whoever else is on my side, especially Maladroit, let us spawn down on the J17 May base.
Any particular class, or doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I think all the rules are off, so you could do whatever you want as any kit, pretty much. But I'll just grab SL kit for ease, and then we'll hop in Logi as if we were starting a match. So something I want you to check whenever you can, Maladroit, is you hear explosions, look on the map. You'll notice we have pre-emplacements and pre-marked attacks. So assuming there's stuff going on somewhere else, Slacker will come down and eventually be our enemy. But if you look on the map, towards the middle of the map, you'll see infantry marks. You heard those explosions. And if you look towards the right on the map, I recommend maybe going into the enter mode instead of the end mode so you can scroll through the map.
Yeah.
You'll notice up top around like Oscar 11, there's infantry reported and there's a Logi on the radio. So that's kind of the first lesson. You will notice as we are starting to play and you hear explosions, check the map. Wilster pre-placed some C4 on timers. So as we're going to do our mission, we'll assume there's other people out there. They are about to lose their radio because they left the Logi on the radio. So that's the first lesson, and we'll go over that once we get down to Quarry. Never leave a Logi on the radio. That's pretty much the easiest thing to remember. If you ever are SLing, or even if you're in a squad and it's your Logi, just move it. People will just dump the Logi and leave it be, and it's a clear indicator, especially for a helicopter or something. Here's where your radio is. So, yeah. Just keep that in mind, and we'll check the map every so often. And you'll notice that our habs start to disappear.
Okay.
All lowercase, it's Vermont. Oh yeah, check the map now. Over at Oscar 11, our hab's going down because, and that Logi is dead because we left it on the radio. You don't have to drive it back to Maine or do anything crazy, but just leave it, maybe not right next to the radio. So you'll notice to the left of that, at like Lima 11, the Logi's off the radio, and there's a lot less likely chance you will find that radio. Easy enough so far. The only other thing to note is look at where that hab is on Lima 11. It's right next to the radio, so also a potential indicator that might be something they may find later on. And as we go through here, you'll notice like the different points, you can do different strategies. You can put the radio far away, you can put the hab far away, or sometimes if we're out like a big open terrain like we're driving through now, you have no option but to put everything together. So it's really just depending on your terrain what you can do.
All right.
So the important thing to note here is if we look where we are here at Quarry, even though we have it capped, we'll assume we're defending. We have a fob off to the west side of Quarry. It's off the flag. This is where it differs. Some people like putting the fobs right on the point. The benefit there is that you can spawn and get into the action right away. The negative thing is if we put a fob right on the point here, they have to go to the point to cap. So therefore, they'll find that hab and or radio really quick. So we'll assume that we see an enemy helicopter mark down there. We assume they're setting up shop there, and we're going to lose that radio in a little bit. So rather than go right onto the flag, we're going to park up somewhere over here. And we will put down a radio. So I generally like to find a bush of some kind, and I see one right here. Also, Maladroit, you've never squad leaded, have you? Or am I like talking down to you?
No. I appreciate this like in-depth thing because like I've done it a couple times, but I never felt good about it.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, the first thing here, put it in a bush if you can, or somewhere where it's not sticking out. Again, we really just care about UAVs and helicopters for the most part, but even infantry can easily miss this. So radio's down, and now we will unload the truck. But people will say unload the truck, and we have 1,500 supplies. We don't need to do that. We'll only unload 600. That's the magical number in squad. The ammo doesn't really matter for this, but the build does. Anyway, Meladroid, where should we put the hab? I'll give you a fire team so you can mark.
Ooh.
Mark wherever you think the hab should go.
Sorry, I'm like talking myself off mute. So I got the radio over there.
You're good.
And I know we got some viewpoints over. I feel like.
And let's pretend that the helicopter above us, I think that's Silver flying.
Yeah.
Let's just assume he's actually enemy and that he can see us. Also, there's no wrong answers unless you put it out in the open field.
Yeah, I'd like to do it in between these trees here. But it's a little close to the road and has some viewpoints to it. But everything else is on top of a hill, which is a little, I don't know, it's a little out there.
Good thoughts, good thoughts.
But we can go a little farther, I guess, so.
In actuality, if I put the radio maybe a little bit further west, we might have been able to get in the building, but doesn't matter. It's all right.
Yeah, I always have problems with that because I don't know what you guys' opinions are on this, but like I've seen stuff where like I've run into matches where like you do that and
you get
trapped in the building. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, every match is different. Every map is different. This is only just the basics, so you might have to stray from the ideas. But anyway, so you had the right idea. So oh look, our hab went down out west at Quarry. So the helicopter landed, they found our hab. So now we have no radio out there eventually. So that's just something important to keep thinking about is you have one radio directly on the point. We wouldn't be able to get any other fob down. But now because that radio is off the point, we have the ability to put a radio down right now and now a fob. So I'll just, it's not really a great spot actually. I'll just put it down over here. So we don't actually have to dig it.
Yeah.
So it's not a great spot because you can spot it from the air, especially UAV. The little benefit here is that you have kind of some trees flanking it in this fence. So for them to get a UAV in here or a airstrike, it's going to be a little tricky because they very easily could spray anything else but the hab. But the benefit here is that when you come off this hab, the point, we're in the point right now, so that'll help defend it. But usually people go inside this whole apparatus in here, and so hopefully the hab won't get overrun, because if it were in this building, it would get overrun from people trying to swarm the building. So that's just a thought. Again, people can do it differently depending on the match, depending on who you're playing. Some people hunt fobs like crazy, and it doesn't matter what you do, they're going to find it. And then you also have cheaters every so often. So yeah. But you'll notice on the map, we have the Logi on the radio. So if Silver was against us, there's a very good chance he could not see the radio, but he could see the Logi, and there's a good chance he'll mark that. So in the event, usually if I'm squad leading, I'll just move the truck. But otherwise, I'll always have someone stay in the truck and just move it immediately. Yeah, that's just a simple lesson. Slacker, are you still coming down to Quarry? Where are you right now? Oh, I see you. All right, so that's the first lesson. It's very simple, and you already pretty much understood it. And it was very good you didn't put it near this road, because a lot of people just like to follow the road, and it would get spotted. So very good. If we look at our map again, you'll notice now that Stepney Hab is completely gone, where those little helmets are on Oscar 11, and then the Lima 11 Hab is actually still okay for now. Let's go cap the next point. We'll hop in the truck. And I know where Slacker is, so I'm just going to mark him. Somewhere up there. So we'll assume we can't take a really direct approach. And we'll also, I don't know, we'll put Slacker on our team. Not Slacker, Silver on our team. So Silver, if you want to look around and try to spot that armor down there. I think he's in a BTR.
Copy that.
So a lot of times, if you can have someone ahead of you, whether it be armor, some kind of vehicle, or a helicopter, that's great, because that way you're not going in blind. I just went inside the admin camera, starting to read. Kind of know where he is.
Nice.
Okay, so Silver is marking. You can't really see it on my screen unless you were looking at the live broadcast, but Silver marks over this way. Somewhere over there, that there's something going on. So we will
BTR marked accurately.
Nice. So yeah, if you just communicate with the helicopters, they don't always have to be doing supply runs. You can ask them to look for things for you. It's also great because the BTRs will want to shoot him, and instead of shooting us.
Hey, it's not cool.
Okay, so now we're approaching this point. Is ours to cap? We'll assume they're going to come attack it after. Mark, where you think we should put a radio? Right.
Oh, this is a weird one. So their main. So I'm gonna go through my thought process. Yeah, their main is north of us. So they'll probably be approaching to the north. So we can't really. It's gonna be difficult to put a sneaky fob in that forest up there because they'll probably run through it or do it themselves. I'd say like I don't know, like an somewhere close to there might be good. You have two angles of approaches.
And you're talking for the radio, correct?
Radio. Maybe radio a little farther back.
Okay. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what's up in here.
Like maybe a little earlier.
Not a bad idea. Let's hop out and see how it looks. A keen eye could spot this, but honestly, it looks... Actually, it probably could be spotted, but that's okay. The location-wise is pretty good. If you look on our map, you'll notice that while the hab is not on the point, this is how I would like to do it. A little further away, because the problem is you tell people not to fight on the hab, and they fight on the hab. They don't bother to actually run first. So we'll pretend... Oh, actually, unload the truck of everything. So we have a benefit and a disadvantage here. The benefit is that it's a little bit further away for the radio, so the radio will likely be safe and we won't lose 20 tickets. But now the hab is likely going to be out in the open field here, so either a tank or anyone else could likely disable it itself. An airstrike could, but if we're going for a quick approach, that's not the worst thing in the world. So we do have a little trench line here that we can use. It ain't pretty, but it gives us the advantage here of the terrain. So we're kind of, once you get up here, you'll see we have a little bit of a berm on each side. So people likely can't get killed when they leave the hab, but only when they cross this ledge.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean about the radio being exposed, especially people with lower settings.
Yeah, the less, the fewer graphic settings they have, the bushes may not render the same way, but that's okay. But if you notice, we came from the south where it's likely to be safe. They could easily see it from the south, but to the north, they would likely only see the roof of it, if anything. So it's not the worst thing in the world, and the whole benefit here is that we want the rallies somewhere out in this field. So you just want to encourage people to put a rally out here so that way they can just spawn and run into the point. It's really not bad idea at all. Again, this is one of these awkward points where you might have to put the radio and the hab on the point directly just because everything else is so exposed. So it's just a really awkward point, and you want to try not to fight over this. Silver, did you crash?
Heli ram.
Oh, nice. I'll ban him.
Yeah, please. I rammed him.
Just a clarifying question. Are we the perspective of attacking or defending on this set of fobs?
So right now it was neutral before we got here, and we were going to assume that we would have to potentially defend it upon getting here and capping it. but we will go for an attack fob on the next point, and it'll be pretty similar. A defense fob, sometimes people will put directly on the point, so you can.
I think that was me on this one. I think I was placing it to be a safe attack fob.
I mean, that's a very good idea because the rallies will be out here. So it's really not a bad idea at all. We will actually try to see if this helicopter is still alive because we could take a radio from it. The one other thing I didn't mention that's really important, if we're doing something like this where we're leaving that radio far out there and there's no one really around, one thing you can do is this. We get to this heli. Oh, it shows up as invisible, or oh no, we have a helicopter here. Okay. These poor helicopters. All right, we'll see if we can drop a radio.
Yeah.
I like to put a rally on the radio just that way, in the event that people are trying to backcap us or hunt for our radios, whatever it may be, the rally would burn before the radio is touched, and we would know people are here maybe like a minute or two ahead of time. So the benefit of that is that it's like an early safety warning. Again, we can also do that. Come over this way. Oh my God, it's loud. So the other thing we could do is put a rally anywhere else on the point or anywhere. If we wanted to put it out here in this field, for example, let's say you're worried about a flank over here, or even up towards where those buildings are, you see on the map here. If we did that, put a rally up there, yeah, we could spawn from it. But mainly if you don't need the spawn point, we have a radio here in the point. It'll serve as a security warning that there's someone over there now. So really, if you're defending and you're setting up a defense early on, like we know that we're not going to get to this next cap and they're going to cap it, they're going to start coming here. Put a rally somewhere on the outskirts and you'll know they're coming from that direction, and now you're waiting for them rather than them surprising you. So we'll assume there's a rally out there. We won't actually run out there.
Pretty good idea. I've heard of that before, but I never really got the thought process of it. I've seen people do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have to use a rally to spawn on it if you don't need to. Silver, you actually down. Oh, you're down. Okay. Do you want to pick us up? And oh my God,
I got Zeused.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If you want that,
that's okay.
Get a couple seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Fly us out here. We'll fly to the next point and set up. Meldroid, you were curious about an attack hab or a defense hab?
Sorry. I was thinking. Well, it was more just like I was curious. I was setting up that one as perspective of an attacking flag, but yeah,
that's perfect.
I think it's one of my defensive. It's not. I don't know. I guess that's more just when I run into it, I have like this like indecision is mostly the problem I run into, which ends up being like
I
mean, the 5 times I've done it.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Mainly, you want people pushing with rallies, so that way, rally costs nothing if it gets burned. A radio is 20 points that you just lost on top of whatever bodies you lost and other assets when you're attacking. So usually attackers will lose more tickets generally. So you want to consider that when we're putting down the radio. So that radio down south we just placed with the Logi is perfect for an attack hab because they can't, from here on the point, they can't see you. Unless they're looking that general direction and people are fighting on the hab. But generally, you'll be okay. This is a point, they already know we've been here because we've captured it, and there's likely people going to be here defending anyway. So here, it's not that big of a deal where you put the defense hab, just because they're going to find you and it eventually when they come down here. It's whether or not you can withstand them. I've got smoke for you, Silver.
Copy.
Yeah, so that's really the thought process here. There's one other thing we'll do. We'll do an attack at West Mogi that we're going up to. So we'll assume they're already there. They haven't capped. But for some reason, whatever, we'll pretend that they're there. So as we're in the helicopter, let us, why don't you put down a mark where you think it should go? Oh, they're capping, so yeah, well, now we'll have to attack them. So let's see.
The radio, right?
Yeah, that's where you want to put the radio. And also remember that we're coming in by helicopter, so it's not going to be quiet.
Shit. All right. This is my problem, too.
We'll assume that's where their radio or hab is. We'll assume that their hab's on the north side.
So I'm stuck between this guy as a radio placement or this guy.
All right, Silver, you want to head off to 1 mark?
Copy.
All right, so we're going to head off to your mark and see how that pans out. You also have to consider the pilot, too. Silver sucks at flying. No, I'm kidding. But no, in reality, if we couldn't ever land the helicopter in the center of the town, so it's a good thing you didn't put it there, just because we would get blown up instantly. Also, if anyone is actually at West Mogi right now, feel free to shoot light arms at us. All right, let's bail out. All right, Silver, we're going to go a little bit southeast.
Yep, copy.
So it sounds like small arms to our south. So now someone could be watching us this whole time and may know where this radio is. So that's always a risky thing with the helicopter. All right.
I'm taking small arms.
All right, so Silver dropped what we needed. Where do you want to put this at?
All right.
Woo, we got an nade thrown at us.
Well,
I'll res you, hold on. They were too good with their fire. Coming.
I got your back, brother.
All right, heal you. While I'm healing you, look for a good spot for the hab. Rip, Silver.
Rip.
Why is there a motorbike down here? That's interesting. All right, so let's go over to the Charlie.
it's like a weird spot, especially with when we got attacked with the helicopter there.
All right, let's push over here. Let's check it out. Don't shoot Russian. We want to play stab. Or you can shoot in the air to simulate. So where do you want it over here? Do you want it inside this building, on the side?
Oh, we're dead. Fuck, I mean, the same thing with it, especially here, it's like you're trapped. Hello, Russian. Ah, shit.
Oh, we got a couple of Russians. Oh my god, there's quite a few Russians.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I'm regretting this decision, because if I do it off this town, it's like they got some awesome fire advantage on it.
That's okay. It's called an audible. Find a new spot ASAP.
Yeah.
We got the pacifist Russian army on us right now.
Yeah, we're just going to go a bit. I know it's bad, but we're going a little east of where we were, I think, at this point,
Okay.
since the radio's over there. Definitely feel like I should have gone for the original fucking radio point I had down.
That's all right. No worries. So also remember, you don't just need tree cover. You could also use terrain to cover yourself. So I'm going to show you this right here. So the benefit here is that they can only strike with an airstrike from the south if they can manage that. The other thing here is, look at this. We have a sneaky little tunnel that we can crawl right through to the other side. So they cannot shoot us unless they are in that tunnel too, or they throw a frag. But that's the other thing you have to realize is that you don't always need tree and bush cover. You can use terrain to your advantage. You can use, obviously, buildings, whatever it may be. But depressions work very well because, look, if we're standing on this side of this berm, you can't see the hab. You have to actually be standing on top of it, and likely there'll be enemies inside it. So by the time you spot it, you're likely dead. Yeah, they're going to know it's here then. But for them to attack it, they have to be almost on it. So that's one big benefit here, is that they cannot really access this unless we all die off this fob. So,
yeah. I think I was getting locked up with, like, don't get it spotted at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be times where it's going to be spotted. It's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, if the hab goes down but the radio's still alive, that's fine because the tickets are on the radio, not the hab. Yeah, you can't spawn on it. That's a problem. But you want to just be considerate of any kind of masking you can be afforded. So the radio is usually going to be in a bush. The hab is usually going to be in some kind of foliage, tree line. Trees are better because the trees will block an airstrike, but yeah, that's actually a really good spot because look, anywhere over here, if anyone's coming towards us to the south, they can't see it. We see guys come out of this pipe over here, but that's about it. But yeah, do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, where would you have, like, where would the radio be better for the situation? It was a little weird, especially with the landing.
That's okay. Yeah, by helicopter, we're going to be pretty much spotted pretty quick anyway, but we'll assume we had a Logi. You have another option. This is what I usually will do. Also, this is assuming that they don't know we're here. If there's already fights going on, then you're going to have to put it down wherever you can put it down. It is what it is. But if you'll notice here, where I put this little mark is outside of that radius of our previous fob. So now we have two angles of attack. If, let's say, a Logi comes on the side. Oh my god, these explosions. But yeah, so you want to always try to place them off so that we can have multiple routes of attack, especially with a rally or something else. And over here in those bushes in that little tent area is a really good spot for a radio. Not many people utilize that. So Reaper will go over there in the camera and take a look if you want at those tents while you're recording so you can see what's going on. But yeah, honestly, that's not a bad move. You would probably not be great at putting the radio anywhere further east here, because we're all now in this big field, and pretty much nowhere where you put the radio is it going to be safe for the hab, and vice versa. But southwest, where you did, in that little compound down there, and northeast over by these tents, you should be able to be pretty safe. Will, does he have admin access in the server?
Who?
Maladroit, or is it only GMG?
No, it's only GMG, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay. Because I was going to have just over there. But yeah, if you look on the map, you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about. I will just zoom over the camera. Maladroit, if you want to go to the live stream on Discord and
yeah, I got you.
Look at what I'm looking at. Okay. So yeah, these tents over here that Reaper just recorded on the camera, it's very cozy. But the other benefit is you have 4 tents to pick from for a radio, so the likelihood of them finding it's a little slower. We have an enemy hab over here, so they throw out the same idea. But you can now, if you look at the map, place the hab relatively okay tree line around here, or as far up as even like this ridge line here, so you're kind of protected from the trees. So you really have quite a few different options. And now you're on the point. Like the cap zone is like right over here. Yeah, the cap zone starts literally here. So you have the hab just hop right over. So that's a nice benefit. We will have to end the lesson in a few minutes just because I'm on a hard stop time. But feel free to ask any other questions. You can always chat to any GMG member and ask questions too in Discord, or if we're playing a match, you can also just join us and say, hey, I want a squad lead, or hey, I want half squad to lead, or whatever else. To join you or help you find players for your squad. But do you have any questions so far? Or any more questions, rather?
I guess I think some of the biggest issues I have is like what kind of detail is good to just give like a random squad? Because with people who are experienced, like they go show up the GMG guys or something, like you said. It's like
we're not experienced. We just play together.
But like you have to probably be a little more confident than random people who don't know each other.
Yeah, it's just communication. That's the big thing. Is we just communicate with one another, and that's what makes the difference. If you're coordinated. So if you're squad leading, whether you have 2 guys in your squad or the full squad, it's really just the other SLs that can make or break the whole match. So just consider that. The other thing too is you should talk to the other SLs and say, "Hey, stop leaving your logi on the radio," or helicopter. Maybe you shouldn't be the first radio on the attack point because you're going to get blown up or spotted instantly. So that's another thing to consider is make sure you just communicate with other people. Have them use their rallies. Make sure the radios are not next to the habs if you can avoid that. Mention maybe, depending on the point, like this point here, there's no real reason to have the radio on the direct point when we have all these good other areas if you're attacking or defending. So consider that. And yeah, it's just communication. So that way it's not just people doing, if you have 8 different squads doing 8 different things, you have 8 different teams flying, not one team. And you got silver flying, you're screwed. Who's flying now? Oh, it's Prime.
It's me.
Okay. Yeah, too. But yeah, so it's really just communication. So if you lead, you could have 2 dudes in your squad and just kind of help wrangle the other SLs. Some people think that's the commander's job, but in reality, it's just keeping each other in check and helping each other out. Yeah, the other thing too is like with the whole lodges, like I said, keep the lodges off the radio and make sure they're always moving. If you park a logi here after you deployed that radio and you don't use it the rest of the match, that's a problem. They should be moving and the helicopter should be helping you. Yeah, it just comes down to communication, really. I had a little more detail to go over, but again, I was kind of frazzled by the Texas storms here, so it's a little impromptu in some ways here. But Jesus Christ. We will be recording future lessons too that are a little bit more like hands-on script written in a way so that it's more formulaic. But I like to have you kind of be the SL in some ways and have you mark things so that way rather than you just follow what I say, it's you know your idea is where you want to put the hab, and then we know if that's a good idea or a bad idea.
Yeah, that was good. I like that when we did that here, even if it was not a lot, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and like I said, always feel free to join us, ask us questions. We'll have this probably in some regularity, either recorded or live or something like that, where new questions are posed every time. So we'll probably do different maps too, so we can try different things. But Wilster made this map, so big props to him. So there's a lot of things that are happening automatically in the background. Like we lost some radios and lost some habs that were done in mod. So that was awesome for him to spend time and do. And then we have all the hooligans on the other side in Russia that are acting as forces that we have to be careful of. So it's good having some live players while we're going over this rather than just you and I alone. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll have either a channel or we'll make a training channel or something like that in Discord so you can follow up and ask questions or do mini sessions, whatever it may be. Or again, if you see us in the squad or in the server, just pop in, ask questions, or watch what we're doing, and just do it. Just squad lead. Just lock your squad at 4 people, 5 people, 3 people, or do whatever you want, and have fun. And you'll learn over time.
Like that's cool. That's cool for the rules.
Yeah, you could do 1-man squad if you want. It's kind of frowned upon. You're not breaking any rules, but yeah, not everyone wants to lead a full squad. If I'm tired, I just want to lead with a few people. That's fine.
All right, that'd be awesome. Because sometimes it feels like it just feels like you want to give up when like it's late and that's the only time I pretty much get on, and like only 3 people might listen to me and half of them are just fucked off, and it's like, all right, well, it's just kind of the mood in the night.
That's totally cool, dude. Yeah, just do that, and yeah, as long as you're communicating, if you want a smaller squad, that's totally cool, and use whatever assets you want, and yeah, just be a team player. That all comes down to just playing as a team, not as just a squad.
All right, sounds great. I really appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, of course. And thanks for all the other GMG folks for helping out in Slacker. I have to hop off and get some food, but the server, I think, will still be up. We're still in Discord, so if anyone wanted to mess around, we're good to use it.
Yeah, I'll just be leaving it up. And
cool.
Yeah, I got
another event in 2 days.
Yeah, on Saturday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming, Maljoy. It was appreciated. And thanks, Slacker, and everyone else for joining. Even if you already know all this, it's nice having everybody around.
Sorry for blowing you up.
That's okay. All right. I'll catch you all later.